Hello everybody, today I'm going to be talking about episode 2 of season 4 for girls. I enjoyed this episode a lot. I think it was a really good way for us to be introduced to Iowa and Hannah and her new life being in grad school. For the most part, this is about her adjusting to this new life and being an adult and really going at it on her own. And I think, it was cool. I mean, we barely even saw anybody from the immediate cast with the exception of Elijah. I think what Lena Dunham is trying to say with this episode is that when you make steps towards a goal, even if it's for the better, if you think you're doing the right thing for yourself, it's not always going to work out 100% the way that you think it's going to. The transitions are not easy. There are a lot of bumps in the road and nothing ever kind of falls into place completely. You are going to feel awkward. You're going to second guess yourself. You're going to wonder, am I really doing the right thing? And I think that she captured that aspect very well. I really thought that the episode was beautifully shot, and I think that Lena was able, I know she did direct this episode, but she was able to capture that kind of incidental feel, making things feel, she was able to capture the subtle moments along with the more dramatic moments in a way that just kind of flowed very beautifully for me. We needed to see Hannah in the way that she deals with the smaller things and the bigger things, but just everyday things like not being able to get phone reception in your house, or even having maybe a bat or something trapped in your house, which to me is, a metaphor for all the external forces in her life that are out of control and all of her fears. And of course, the big one is not being able to take criticism very well at your first writer's workshop. I think that the writer's workshop the scene worked well in some ways, in other ways it didn't. That's the scene where everybody's at the table and they're each critiquing each other's stories. It's very obvious that it's Lena Dunham's not so subtle jab at her critics, because in the scene after Hannah reads her story, everybody is just attacking her in very aggressive ways that are not realistic at all, for her being too similar to her main character and in the story that she wrote. All the criticisms that they use just seems very much like art imitating life. In a lot of ways, I feel like it was a very forced plot device, because it seems like Lena Dunham, no matter what she does, no matter how much she tries to get rid of all the criticism and ignore it, I think it really does get to her. In this scene, it's almost like everybody was ganging up on her, and I don't feel that was a correct way of going about it. But at the same time, the character of Hannah is kind of Lena's way of presenting herself in maybe a fictional way, some ways nonfiction, some ways fiction, but she's able to really recognize her own flaws and be able to present them to us. Hannah is extremely sensitive, and she doesn't like it when negative opinions are given about her work, because she's very passionate about what she does, and she just doesn't want to hear that because she's insecure. And I know, because I was a creative writing major in college, so I've been to many workshops, and I know the feeling of when you've got a story that you really believe in, and if somebody says something that you don't agree with, you build up that defense mechanism, and you will defend your story to no end, and you build up this semi-faux confident ego in order to protect yourself from all that, saying, I'm gonna be great one day and I'll laugh at all of you when I publish a bestseller, which of course that does not happen to the majority of us. And I love the fact that no matter what, Lena is able to make fun of herself and make fun of the people around her and recognize some of her shortcomings. And I think honestly that's one of her greatest attributes as a writer. And I also really liked the way the episode ended. Elijah makes an appearance in the episode. He comes to Iowa with her and they crash an undergrad party. I love the way it ended because it has a shot of the two of them walking away in the grass together. And it was just kind of a beautiful moment that gave a sort of hopeful quality to the show that wasn't corny in any way. It was just saying, no matter what changes happen, how volatile relationships can be, and all of this, no matter what, we stay alive for each other, and we protect each other when things get difficult. The hopefulness of that episode reminded me, maybe to a lesser extent, but it did remind me of season 1 when Hannah and Marnie are just dancing at the end of one of the episodes, and they're just kind of shaking off all of the haters, the criticism, the problems in their lives. And yes, the Shake It Off reference was Taylor Swift, because apparently Lena Dunham and Taylor Swift are BFFs now, so it seems only fitting. But anyway, that's my recap of the episode. I will see you all next week for episode 3. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, the link is below, and you can also like my Facebook page below that. Catch you next time.